My name is Rosie Hackett. I live around the corner there on Rosie Street. My first job was packing paper in a paper store. But a few years ago I got a better job, working as a messenger in Jacob's Biscuit Factory over in Bishop Street. It was very different from my first job because there were over 3,000 women working in Jacob's. Because I was a messenger, I was sent all over the place. I would get to see every part of the factory. The girls were great, but they worked very hard. And the steam and the heat was something awful. But they were like me. They needed to bring home a few shillings to keep the families going. I was only in Jacob's a month when the men in the bakehouse went on strike for better wages and conditions. Most of the men had joined the new union run by Mr. Larkin. Mr. Larkin said their conditions were sending them from this earth 20 years before their time. He was right. And the women's conditions were no better. The women decided to go and support the men. We had the strength in numbers, and we knew if we stuck together, Jacobs would have to listen. And they did that time. It was around that time I first heard Mr. Larkin speak down outside the factory. When he spoke, I thought the ground was actually shaking. He was the most powerful man I ever heard. And the men and the women loved him because they knew he was with them and that he would lead the fight for them. It was there I met his sister Delia. She organised us women into the Irish Women's Workers' Union. We had our office down in Great Brunswick Street. Mrs. Larkin was a great woman. At our first meeting, I remember her telling us that the women of Ireland were weary of being white slaves who passed their lives away toiling to fill the pockets of unscrupulous employers. She used words as big as her brother. Nearly every evening, I went down to Brunswick Street, helping Delia Larkin with pamphlets and signing on new members of our union. But it all changed last summer, when the men were locked down and Mr. Larkin was arrested in Sackville Street. It turned into a war. The police acted like pure savages. And I'll never, ever forget what I saw that Sunday. It was like a battlefield, with poor bloody bodies thrown around the street. Most of them innocent people. Not even union people at all. Next day in Jacob's, I could sense it was going to boil over. On the Tuesday, Mr. Harris, the supervisor, ordered Phyllis Mahan, Mary Reynolds and Gertie Dunn to remove their union badges. They refused and were immediately sacked. Then the women decided to go on strike. And I was proud to be one of them. And by the end of the day, over 300 of us were sacked as well. I'm entitled to be a member of a union. Women might not have a vote, but we can be in a union. And I'll fight till the day I die for that right. I never got my job back in Jacob's. During lockdown, I went down every day and helped Madame Markovich in the soup kitchen she set up in Liberty Hall. It was terrible seeing how the people suffered, especially the poor little children, and their poor mothers struggling to keep them alive. And I was down in Liberty Hall that I first met Mr. Connolly. He was another great man and a great supporter of us women. One night I heard him speaking, and I'll never forget what he said. The worker is the slave of capitalist society. The female worker is the slave of that slave. And I knew he was right. That's what we wear. That's what the women in Jacobs wear. And that's why we founded the Irish Women's Workers Union. Things are going to change. We're never going back. I'm finished being anybody's slave!